right here.
Got it.
You step on that.
On that step.
On that little step, and then after it starts, the choke is up here.
Got it. I see the choke.
Okay. That's the choke, and you'll have to choke it every time you start it, just like.
And you keep it in neutral.
Yeah, I always keep it in neutral even when you're parked. Push your clutch in, because what happens, you got a disc that's stationary and one that's turning.
Okay.
And if it's loose in there, it'll just sit there and flop and it'll wear. See, so you always stuck it back in when you take it out of gear.
So this right here, there's your starter. That's your choke.
That's the choke. This is the throttle.
Okay.
This one here runs the shutters. It shuts and opens these right here.
Okay.
And
for the cooling.
Yeah, for it to heat it up.
Okay.
I just pull it back in the wintertime to where they're almost closed, because it'll heat up faster.
Right.
Summertime you want naturally all the way
right.
forward. So, and you don't even have to do that in the wintertime, but I do. Some people put plastic over the front, to get them warmer faster. And so here's the turn on of the fuel. And
yep.
and always shut it off on a John Deere when you get done with it.
Okay, otherwise it'll flood it?
No, it'll go down the crankcase.
Oh, okay.
This carburetors on the John Deere's have a tendency to float sticks, and then it'll run over.
Okay, and it runs in through the, got it.
But shut it off. This has got a magneto on it instead of a distributor.
Okay.
And so what I do is I just shut it off and just let it run until it runs out of gas.
Okay.
And that way you got a clean carburetor and all this kind of stuff.
Got it.
This is the oil bath right here.
Okay.
And you just loosen that and drop it down.
Be careful because it's got oil in it.
The oil will drip off of here, so I'd put one of those oil.
Is this what you use for your oil then right here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just basically use the same oil that I use in the engine, which I use 1030, use either 1040. You
got it.
Use either one of those. Some people, if you're going to run just summertime, just run straight 30 weight.
Got it.
I've always ran 1030, and these oils anymore are all good. I don't care what kind it is, really.
Okay.
I just kind of find it's one of the better ones that I kind of like, I think. But here's the spark plugs. Down underneath here is what they call a petcocks, and there's two of them, one for each cylinder.
Okay.
And what that does is release the compression.
Got it.
So some people leave them open in the wintertime, so
you can start it easier.
Yep. Well, not easier, but if there's any condensation inside there, it'll drip out.
Got it.
It'll also let the outside air get into it. So I have done it sometimes, and sometimes I don't. So
right.
It depends on how often I start it. I try to start them all about once a month. So, but anyway, push them up when they're open. I'll open one up after I start it. This had a head gasket that was starting to seep just a little bit. You see this? And I was going to paint that for you, and I never got down to get some paint. The paint for this is a classic green, not the agricultural green.
Okay.
And you'll be able to get that out there at Kirko.
Okay.
Up there, so. But anyway, I put that copper sealant in this radiator, and it stopped it. So,
okay.
They'll always leak in the wintertime when it gets cold. That antifreeze will go where water won't.
Right.
But anyway, it sealed it all up. So, and really, I never had any trouble. It would just bubble a little bit when it first started. And you can see, like I said, but it's that sealant did the job on it. So the front end sets and wobbles. I told you that the other night. They have a eccentric gear up there. You know where to get that? If you want to ever work on it, why, you got to take the nut off the front. There's a little triangle, a little nut there. You got to take the steering nut off, and that steering shaft's got to go clear out. Okay. And whenever you change mufflers for this, you have to do the same thing. You have to take the hood off when you do it. Now, this other tractor over there, they came out with a patch that takes 6 screws. And everybody just cut around so you get down to the bolts. And so it's a lot easier to change the mufflers on them. But
got it.
This one's pretty good shape. I mean, it shows down here because it's some of that. I use that high heat
resistant paint.
John Deere paints, yeah. But I put this back in here. This one was out. Put this back in here, welded it back in, and then I ground it back down so you don't even know it's back to the original. Okay, let's see. Well, I had my, I put a cultivator on this every once in a while, and that's what made this little groove. There's where the cultivator comes up. There's two horns like things. They're little tips, and they fit up there normally. And I just left them out, and then I had my sign that had my there. So now, what I would do with this, I'd take a cork. Take a cork, and see, this is already got clipped back here.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I got you.
Now I can give you the nuts. I don't have enough of the ones that screw in, so you could use an all thread or something like that for if you want to put them in. But there's really no reason for you. If they do, they just look like this right here.
Right.
And but anyway, I just put a cork in there and then just paint over it. And
got it.
Like I said, I used my sign for that. So roll-o-matic front end on it. That means that when you're plowing and you go down a furrow or any place that you got a high spot and a low spot, the one side will grow up and the other one go down, but you'll have even. So, you know, like normal internationals and all them, they just all got all the weight on one wheel, and it pulls and it'll knock it out of your hand. Well, John Deere came out with that invention, and they sold a lot of tractors just because of that. This is, I bolted this on just for your tie down on it for your.
Got it.
That kind of helps rather than skinning up someplace and that on all the time. This has got a big bearing down here in the bottom. It needs to be greased once in a while. The same way with the roll-o-matics. Got one back there and one here on each side. That. Put your magneto. I usually cover it up if I'm going to be outside with it, because condensation, stuff like that gets in them just like cap on a distributor.
Okay.
You know? And but this one's really good. It's got a good, throws a big hard spark. This is where you put your oil in. And
engine oil.
Engine oil.
Okay.
And here's the filter, and you'll see the drain. You'll see the big plug, plug down there underneath. You'll see drain. Okay, the filter, they'll have Macarico, but buy the square O-ring too. There's an O-ring that fits up in there, and you just tighten them up. You don't want to really torque them tight, real tight, but just enough to where they'll seal and that. But and some people use the same O-ring I have before too, if it looks like it isn't too dented or anything.
Got it.
Because they do come separate. They used to come together in the box,
but now they're separate.
They cheapen them up, and so you have to buy the O-ring. And I usually keep 2 or 3 of them down in my shop. And back here in the back, there's, you see that square plug right there, that little one?
Yep.
Okay, when you drain the oil, you want to drain that too, because that, in water will come out of that. It's the lubricant for your gears in there. And amazing, it uses the same oil as what's in here, but you put it in here. And
you just put it in until it comes out that hole then?
No, open it up and let it all drain, drain out, and then put it back in. And then when you fill this, take that off and put some in there. But I think it takes about I don't think it even takes probably 2 pints, maybe something like that. And that's so the lights all work. Switch for that's right here.
Got it.
Right there. And this is the gauges. You got temperature and oil pressure and all that. This has got good oil pressure and temperature gauge works. And this is a regulator instead of an alternator. So this lever right here is that runs your hydraulics, your PTO shaft.
Okay.
Anything you put on PTO. Now this doesn't have live power, so let's say you got something on the back that's a PTO driven, and you pull back the clutch, it's going to stop. So if you want to keep it going, you got to pull it out and knock it out of gear, and then push the clutch back.
Got it. Get it out of gear.
Yeah.
And what is this then?
That's your clutch. That's your main clutch.
Okay, this is the clutch then.
That is the main clutch. And you want to start going with them a little bit like that, and then turn and stick them on in. Okay. And there again, when you're setting, take it out of gear and that. When you pull it out, just don't pull it out like that. Jerk it out.
Right.
And that's where everybody kind of makes. They don't do that. They just want to pull, and it takes quite a bit of pull.
You got to just pop it out.
Right. Now, when you get ready to adjust it.
Is this a brake lever then? Left or right brake?
Right brake.
Left brake. Got it.
And then these are the locks there.
Okay.
And, you just push it on, and they hold real good.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't remember if I put new ones on this when I tore it down. I had it tore clear down.
Mm-hmm.
The adjustment for this is a square deal back here behind. So right here it is.
Okay.
It's just like on the old cars and stuff, you know, you had a little ratchet that did. You tighten that and until it gets up fairly tight, but don't let it drag.
Mm-hmm.
So, the clutch, when you get ready to adjust it, get a screwdriver in here and pop this off.
Okay.
And there's three, I think there's three, I don't think there's four, castle nuts in there with cotter keys in there. And you want to put the clutch in gear, leave it out of the transmission, but put your clutch in gear, so make sure it snaps, and then turn those castle nuts just one castle, just one little notch.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take it any more than that, and do every one of them the same.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget what you're doing, because then you'll get clutch plate sitting in there like that, and then what happens, it'll start grabbing on you.
Right.
You know, when you're trying to slip your clutch and all that. So, but anyway, these have a tendency to, there's little clips that go in and try to hold on like a hubcap, and they usually fly off. So I put a little silicone on the back side of them, so if it won't come off real easy, well, that's why. And then, like I said, just put it back on when you were doing it. This is a clutch brake. These are little pads that you can buy. This one here, you see. And you kind of, when you pull back on your clutch, and if you don't want to use your brake all the time, like you want to slow it down, you're just moving a little bit, just pull back, and that's what that pad is. That gets there. So, and I put a new one on, but I'm going down to where it's almost down to the metal again there. And you can't take it off, and I think you can just turn it around. I think you turn it around. I believe they used to rivet in, but now they come out with these other ones like that now.
Okay, so you got two levers here. One is for
shutter and the other throttle.
Shutter and then throttle. Got it.
Bottom one, shutter.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this one I put fenders on. It makes it a lot safer for you.
Oh yeah.
and then this is the new style cylinder. It's I got the old style on that other one. I'll show you. These are quick couplers. They just slide back like that. They call them pioneers.
Yep.
And here's the ends.
Yep.
They got caps on them already.
And then you said again, that's that lever up there, that one lever, the short lever.
That's what turns it on.
Okay.
Also, when you put a cultivator on this, they got a long rod that goes up the front, and they hook onto this what they call a rock shaft. And that deal there runs that also. And then that lever over there is the one that runs the hydraulics.
This one?
And you have to change. I don't remember which one it is. So, now let's see. There's one here. Yeah, let's see. One is for the drop. Here's the other one. One is for the drop, and the other one is for how fast it goes. In other words, the rock shaft is disconnected right now because you got your hydraulics going to the hydraulics here. But if you want to use the rock shafts, you got to turn. I think it's this one, and this one here is the speed. I think it is. There, you take that off, and there's a little screwdriver, like two are in there. So you got to move it. I forget which way. It'd be wise to see if you can pick up a operator's manual. I only got one. Matter of fact, I got it loaned out right now.
I think I could probably get one.
Yeah, but you can get them online. You can get reproductions of them, stuff like that. This is when I changed the oil last. 6117. You got
1540.
1540 right there now. So, and usually keep it there.
Kind of need to strap this down, huh?
You want to take that off.
Or take it off, yeah. Yeah.
Don't forget it.
Yep. Otherwise she's gone.
I walked back a couple times, and even I've got when you're out plowing and stuff, you won't have any trouble with it. This plate gets really pretty hot.
Oh yeah.
Here. So I've got a rubber
pad.
A piece of belting is what it is. Well, I forget that. Take that off once in a while too, and it can fly off just like this can. But just whatever you do, don't forget to take that off and travel down the road. So this is where you put the hydraulics in. This is your check right here for your rear end. And that's where you put the oil in. You'll see down underneath there, and it'll be milky looking. It always does, because they'll get water in it. I haven't changed that for quite some time. When you first take the nut loose, you'll feel a little water. If you haven't moved it, you know, to mix up the oil, you'll have that water condensation on the bottom. So you can do that. I usually do it once a year, kind of like I do my compressor. You know,
right.
They get condensation. I just loosened up a little bit and let the water drain off and put the plug, or leave the plug back in. But, don't forget, it takes 11 quarts for the oil on the oil.
That's about it, probably.
What I've done, I'll put these steps back on here. I had that one I told you that was a toolbox, and I had one on the front. Quite honestly, I never hardly ever used it. I always come around back behind, pound off that way. There, so I just put both of them, which I took one off of that tractor, that tractor there, and put it onto this one. So you got two steps there you can climb on and off. So this drawbar underneath there has a bolt that goes up through there, and it's got a kind of lever like on the top of it. You get it lined up, and you pop it up, and you can shove that drawbar in further or let it out. I think there's three different places. I've got it clear out now. And then you can also turn it over or turn it up. When you're plowing, you want to have it down. I mean, if you're going to plow, and you'd want it up fairly close. So you're pulling down on the back of the tractor. The further you get back, the more slippage you're going to get. The closer you can get that to it. Okay, and then you got 6 gears forward. That's self-explanatory up there. The gear shift. This is what they call an all-fuel. It's only got I take that back. This is just strictly gasoline. And this one. This is a 50, and the 49's got a round axle, and the 50s and 51s and 52s had square axles, and they're straight 6 gears forward. On the 49, they had a high-low. First and third was together, second and fourth was together, and fifth and sixth were together. That's the way they used it. My uncle had, well, the same one that owned that. He had one other one besides that one. Well, when he was still farming, he never had this one when he was farming. He had this after he sold his cows and milk and everything, and bought that. He needed a tractor on his little acreage they had. But anyway, he had a 49, and they're a little faster. This low and this is really, really slow. And it's kind of like a granite gear in that truck, that pickup. So